lawn signs, campaign ads, and media coverage are telegraphing the coming midterm election, where in Minnesota, voters will choose candidates to represent them in Congress, in the offices for governor, attorney general, secretary of state, and state auditor. The election will also determine all 201 seats in the state legislature. Joining me to offer his perspective on the coming election is the founder and director of the Center for the Study of Politics and Governance at the University of Minnesota, Dr. Larry Jacobs. Thank you for being here.
Good to be with you.
I'd like to start by talking about media and the information landscape. I make it a point to watch and read a wide variety of news sources, and it seems that one's views on current events and even what those current events actually are can be determined based on where that news is coming from. So in your view, to what degree are news and social media companies contributing to the seeming bifurcation of society?
It's huge. If you go back 50, 60 years ago, you had a few networks and they tended to show similar takes on what was happening in the world. There wasn't really a dispute about the facts. The parties would take a different approach on those facts. Today we have a very different media environment that's both traditional media and social media. And what we're finding is that the partisans are seeking out media sources that tend to reinforce their own already existing attitudes. And once they're on those media sources, the information they're getting tends to reinforce or actually produce new perceptions, misperceptions, and a sense of risk. So I think we're in a pretty serious situation where our understanding of reality is quite different across the parties.
Historically, candidates campaign with a platform, vote for me because I promote these things and I offer these solutions. Some of the advertising dollars, though, that we're seeing spent across the media landscape are telling a different story related to more national themes like the economy or crime or immigration or abortion rights. How can a voter discern what the candidates on their ballot stand for?
It's hard work. We have had a process of nationalization in which a lot of the media, with the exception of this program, have stopped covering state and local news as they once did. And the result is that voters are queuing. They're looking at what's happening nationally with the big national personalities like Biden or some of the Republicans. And that's how they're interpreting what's going on in their state. This is happening all over the country. And it's one of the reasons that we see presidential choice in states corresponding pretty closely with the choice of governors, because the media environment, the information are so similar now because of the nationalization of news information. For voters, you've really got to be very resourceful. You've got to be willing to do research online. You may want to go hear the candidates if you're able to do that, but it's not something that's readily available for most voters, and I think it's a shame.
The myth that the 2020 election was stolen is still being used among some candidates for office. As a political scientist and someone who watches government closely, are you concerned about what this could mean long-term for the integrity of our voting system?
It is one of our biggest threats to our country right now, is the sense that our electoral process is deeply flawed, that one party has got an advantage over the other. I'm pleased to see the bipartisan work that's gone on in Congress that is now rewriting the Electoral Count Act, which was a 19th century law that President Trump took advantage of. That is strictly bipartisan. I think that's a good sign. I also think the role of the courts in reviewing what is going on in the states by election officials is very important, because we do seem to have a high level of respect for those courts, but it's going to take time. There's no doubt that the credibility and legitimacy of our electoral process has taken a big hit over the last year and a half.
Midterm elections are historically good for the party that is not in power, meaning that this should be a good year for the Republicans. Many pundits have speculated that the overturning of Roe v. Wade could put a dent in that Republican momentum. On the other hand, others believe that the economic uncertainty highlighted by the high cost of gas and food could take precedence. So is it a toss-up?
Well, I think it's going to be a very close election, but I would say at this point that the environment certainly favors Republicans. It favors Republicans more in states that tilt in a Republican direction. Minnesota is kind of a state where we have political parity with a little bit of a Democratic advantage, particularly in statewide races. So I don't think it's going to play out here the same. But the way I would put it is the Supreme Court made an historic decision to reverse the abortion rights established by Roe v. Wade. That had a tremendous impact in mobilizing women in particular to become involved in this election cycle. That's faded a little bit. And we've seen the attention to abortion on the national agenda slip, so now we have inflation and crime above it. I think the key question is going to be which set of demographics will the abortion issue register and turn out young people? Will it turn out women? And it doesn't take a whole lot to impact some of the elections here in Minnesota, particularly the state legislative races, which are often decided by hundreds or a few thousand votes.
There's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. There are supply chain issues. There's economic uncertainty at home and abroad for a number of reasons. There's extreme weather events that are becoming more frequent. How do you think the uncertainty plays out among voters? Do they vote rationally or emotionally?
Well, I think we're in a time of anxiety, and it's understandable. That does not help the incumbents because the incumbents want to tell you things are going well, re-elect me. And what voters are feeling is, oh my God, what's going on here? Why isn't the situation better controlled? So it doesn't work well for incumbents. I think it could be a factor that will contribute to losses by some Democrats. I think it was a factor that contributed to Donald Trump's loss, even though there were some things that Trump and his supporters could point to as positives.
In the moments we have left, I want your take, if you're willing to give it, on Minnesota's election outcome. Will Minnesota remain a divided government in the legislature and the governor's office? What's your take?
Well, I think that the Democrats have an advantage in statewide races. And the reason for that is because the big population centers, the Twin Cities and some of the other outlying cities, tend to vote overwhelmingly for Democrats. And the Democrats have been doing better also in the suburbs, though not all the suburbs. So that gives them a large number of votes. When it comes to legislative races, the Democrats have a hard time getting support in outstate, and that's going to work against them. So I think the Democrats could well win statewide, but I do think the Republicans are going to do better in the legislative races and will hold the Senate, might even pick up the House.
Dr. Larry Jacobs, always a pleasure. Thank you so much.